Convinced? Welcome to the continuing saga of my VidaXL workbench. In my previous guitar building video, I had a few comments about the fact that I was chasing the bench around the floor of my workshop cum conservatory, and this does sort of add to the jeopardy, the sort of will she won't she, is she going to destroy the work? But it's not helpful and I've got to do something about it. This problem's actually got worse recently because I used to have carpet on the floor until about a month ago, and I've replaced the floor and I've gone from carpet to bare painted wood, and it is very slippery. It doesn't grip. The carpet did used to grip to a certain extent. Now, one of the problems is I need to have access to, there's a door behind me and I need to have access to the garden. So I need to be able to still move this bench when I want to. So the solution is threaded inserts. And now I've gone from a position where the bench will slide around easily to a situation where the bench is rock solid. Well, as rock solid as a self-assembly workbench can be. I think you'll agree that is fairly solid. Convinced? This next bit will maybe sound a bit like a Screwfix ad. I'm not associated with them. This is what I used, the insert and the bolt. 13mm M6 insert and a 12mm M6 bolt. They call them socket buttons. They've got a little Allen key head. If you want the part numbers, 59937 for the insert and 40975 for the bolts. One thing I love about these is they're really cheap. This is packs of 50 and they both come in under £2.50. They're under 5p each, which is brilliant value for money. I'm all about the value for money. For hardwood, you need an 8mm pilot hole for these. The barrel of them is tapered at 7.3mm this end, 8.3mm that end, and then the tangs are an extra couple of millimeters, and it sits really tightly in hardwood. You use an Allen key to tighten them up, an Allen wrench, and you can really crank them home tight, and they're very secure. Softwood is different. I think in solid wood you'd probably be better with a narrower pilot hole, maybe 7mm. I've got OSB, oriented strand board, on the floor here, and I did try an 8mm pilot hole just to see what happened, and as I suspected, as I was tightening them up, I could feel there was very little resistance, and I knew that I could just carry on just cranking and then just strip out the thread and probably end up with a loose insert. What I did for the other three legs, which worked really well, is the advice given by Screwfix in the Q&A section on the website, and that's to simply hammer them in. 6mm pilot hole, and because it's going to be very difficult for them to get a grip trying to screw them in, you simply hammer them in. What I did, because I wanted to be able to hold the insert steady while I hit it with a hammer, obviously I didn't want to use my fingers. I guess I could have used pliers, but what I did was I put an 8mm pilot hole in, just a couple of millimeters deep, just so that it would sit there, and then I had the 6mm pilot hole, is it a pilot hole? 6mm hole down to the full depth of the insert, and that way I could just bash it straight in, and it held really firmly, so that's a good solution. I'm so impressed with these. I would use them on a guitar neck, a Fender style bolt-on electric guitar neck. I think it's a really good alternative to simply screwing into the wood. I think it would give a much firmer joint and much less danger of stripping the wood out as you're screwing the neck on. Just put 4 of these inserts in and use machine bolts to bolt the neck on. I think that's a really good solution. So I hope that's useful. I keep saying this is the last video on my workbench. I still think this is a nice workbench. It's cheap, you know, it's what do you expect? But I'm sure one day I'm going to end up making my own workbench. But for now, I think I've got a usable workbench. Bye for now.